We're back. We want to thank you for listening to us. Well, John Lambros was here. I want to remember his number. We'll try to get his number for in case you missed it. So right now we're excited to have Mr. Willie Blake, who is a staple in our Tucson community. He's commissioner of City of Tucson. He also was the retired business rep for the union for Local 104. And he also has a park named after him. He's Willie Blake Community Park in Western Hills. How you doing, Mr. Blake?
I'm fine. Ain't it good to be alive?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good to be alive and to be sitting here with you, Willie Blake.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you.
So what brought you to Tucson?
First of all, we have a farm in Arkansas, and I saw my dad struggling to pay for it, and I was the oldest brother that could see, so I took it on myself to sit down and talk with my dad, and I told him that I was going to come here and work and help him pay for the farm. Mm-hmm. And we did. Before he died, we got it paid for. And to me, that was a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find Tucson? I mean, you had the whole United States.
Yes, but my cousin is the one who came there and asked me did I want to come back to Tucson. I never seen cactus, nothing like that. I saw it on TV on Cisco Kid and all that. But I went ahead and took a chance. He asked me did I want to come to Tucson, and I came to Tucson.
And what year was that?
In 1962. Some of the roads wasn't very long. They stopped at a certain point. But it's been a good journey.
Yeah. Would you call this home now?
I'm at home now. Once you leave home, you'll visit them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a bird. Once he flies away, I'm just a visitor when I go home. And when I come back to my house, I'm at home now.
Oh, yes, that's great.
So you do a lot of community work, and I know that before, as Raymond mentioned, you had started with the union. But what got you into working in your community?
Well, when I came here, I moved into a neighborhood to where I didn't see any black people.
Mm-hmm.
So where I came from, there was a whole, different people. So I wanted to be where I could see everybody, different races of people. So, and after I'd done 34 years with the Teamsters Union, the neighborhood that I lived in there was so much crime. And the police officers couldn't come in my neighborhood unless there was about 4 or 5 deep. And it was a lot of meanness in the community.
Uh-huh.
So I figured that I wanted to try to make it better. And being a student of Martin Luther King, he taught me that life is more than just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on in the community, so I should be a part of it. So every second night there was 2 or 3 killings. The seniors, they couldn't sit on the porch. They had to just stay in the house. The kids couldn't play.
Right.
And that was a terrible thing to me. And I figured, why should I have a home in the community and I can't sit on the porch, I can't go walking?
Right.
So I figured I'm going to be one that says, I'm not going to put up with this. And I got started in the community, and I've been working ever since. We have to, like Martin Luther King say, it's not about me, it's about the children, the seniors, the handicapped, people can't walk or talk. And you got to keep that in mind. You're going to be that one, be like that one day. I'm sorry. One day it's going to be you.
Right.
So I figured that maybe if I help somebody now, maybe they will help me later.
What I want to talk about is your community park. When did it get named the Willie Blake Park? You remember what year that was?
Yeah, in 2008. I retired in the year 2000. And the reason, it wasn't about me getting my name on it. It was about the seniors or the handicapped people. They're afraid to go to certain parks. And I hate to say this, but sometimes old folks is afraid of young people. So I put it right in the front of my house, and I can look out my door and I can see you. I can see everything that goes on in my park.
Okay.
And if you mess with the seniors or the handicapped, you going to jail. You going to jail. I'm sorry.
I believe that.
You're going to jail.
One of the things you told me about the community you have is that the supermarkets and stuff there weren't stores out there, and you brought more back into the community. How did you make that happen?
Well, first we had to get rid of, nobody would invest until we got the criminal element out of them.
Okay.
Because it was bad. So people wouldn't even come in that area, wouldn't even come to Western Hills, South Park, Los Vistas, Pueblo Garden. They wouldn't even come in the area. They was afraid to.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand why. So what I done, we got grant funds, $6 million, so we could have those funds for the police officer to stay in those areas, those 4 neighborhoods. With the funds, we shared it with the police department to buy speed guns, just whatever they need to help us.
Okay.
And then they was paid to work overtime, stay in our neighborhood. And they did that, and I tell you, it's a different neighborhood now.
That's great to hear.
So the young people can get out and walk and play, the elders, handicapped. You see them doing everything now. Before, they would not do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here in awe, just listening to you talk. My biggest fear having you on the show was that I was just going to get lost and have nothing to say, because I could hear you talk all day long. Just what an investment you made, not just in your community, but in the lives of the people who are living in your community, in your neighbors, and that kind of neighborly spirit that you have. And that's something I'm going to just say your parents had to instill in you as a young man.
Yes, it's good to think about others. Like I say, it's not just about you.
Right.
It's the world was built on love. You got to reach out and share kindness and love, and you keep it going. Goodness come to me, I pass it on to you. Yes.
We're talking with Mr. Willie Blake, who has a park named after him, the community park in Western Hills. He's also the commissioner of City of Tucson, and he's retired business rep for a local union on 104. We're here with Mr. Willie Blake. One thing I want to ask before we go on break is, are you having fun?
Yes, I'm having. Yeah. I'm having fun. I have no problem talking. I'll talk holes in your clothes. It's good, man.
You're listening to Ray Smith and Sandra Johnson on the I Am Real Estate Show on 10:30 a.m. The Voice. We'll be back with more of the show. We'll be back with more of Mr. Willie Blake.
Talk holes in your clothes. I'm taking that.
Welcome back to the I Am Real Estate Show. You're here with Sandra, Ray, and John, and we have the Honorable Mr. Willie Blake.
We are actually so thrilled to have you here today. When we look at the show and kind of the purpose of the show, we do talk about real estate, but we talk a lot about community, because we know that nothing impacts real estate more than the community and the health and wellness of a community that we're in. And you have been really instrumental in working with businesses that are coming into your neighborhood and having those businesses develop a relationship with the community. And we're specifically talking about Marketplace and the U of A Tech Park. Can you tell us a little bit about how that process started and what you are able to do through those partnerships that you have?
Yes, I'd be glad to lay it out to you. It started years ago with what you call the weed and seed. There were 4 neighborhoods. We started what you call the Keno Weed and Seed. And the Keno Weed and Seed is not a program. It's a strategy to improve our neighborhood. After then, it used to be nothing but desert out there, and homeless were living in there. They do crime out in there in the neighborhood and run back to the desert. So I looked at that. 2 things I looked at. There was no place to shop in that area, no place at all. We had to go all the way over to Grant Road, all the way over to Valencia, just for the elders to shop. When they went and got their food at Costco or Price, whatever it was, they had to get back on the bus with their food in their hand and drive all the way back by bus. But the young people would be picking at them while they on the bus and trying to make it home. And that's when I decided I got to do something about this. So I put together a group of people who helped me with this shop, and business people who saw the potential of it being something big, and it is really big right now. But as we went from meeting to meeting, oh man, we went through a lot. We had to go through the city council, the planning development, to even get the pad changed. Once we got the pad changed, and the zoning and all this done, then we had to meet with community to find, kind of have an idea of what we wanted to do.
Right.
What we wanted, and we didn't want no adult bookstores and all this stuff in our community.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted something where we could go right across there and shop, get our food, Walmart, Costco, the movies. We got everything there now. So it's big over there now.
Yes.
And it's growing bigger and bigger. There's people that's coming from out of town, from everywhere to shop in this little place. So I'm really proud of it. What helped the community, after those businesses there got certain square feet, they had to share the funds with the community.
Wow.
Each neighborhood association, we got probably $100,000. But what we done, we decided when we first started that we was gonna take some of the funds and give it to Pima One Stop,
Oh, yeah.
over Pima One Stop, so they could train the people in those 4 communities.
Wow.
You couldn't move the money nowhere else. It got to be in those 4 communities, because we were the one who went to bat so those businesses could be over there.
Right, right.
Yeah. So really, they really don't know how they got there. All they know is we are doing business over here, but they don't know the people who fought and went through tiring meetings, fussing and fighting with one another. Just everything. There were people there at this meeting that didn't even live in our neighborhood, but we were the victors in the end.
And that's a great story. The one thing you also do is that you do grants.
Yeah.
You're very good at, so you do a lot for the city and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how that helped the community, the ability to understand what grant procedures was required and how you get those things completed.
Okay, can I tell you a little bit about the Primo One Stop?
You can talk all day, Mr. Willie.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You can do anything you want.
Sir.
Okay, over Pima One Stop, we do the grants for Pima County Board of Supervisors. They have money that they give to different areas, but in the county areas, okay? In the county areas, like Amado, Green Valley, out at Sales, there are old people in those areas who can't get to town to get to the food bank to get help when they need it.
Right.
So instead of doing that, we help people that work in those areas. I like the idea, if the elderly, the old people can't come and get it, they'll deliver it to you.
Yes.
And that's great. And that's where I want to be, to help people who can't help themselves.
Yes, sir.
Now, the grants that is being written in those areas, Green Valley, Amado, and all those places, when they write a grant, they come to the Primo One Stop. We have a committee. I'm the chairperson, and we look at those grants that they're presenting to us, and if we see that they're okay, we forward them on to the Pima County Board of Supervisors.
Wow.
They okay it, and then disperse the funds to them.
What you've done in the community is great. When you said there's a framework, and you said something, I think, said strategy to improve the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Is that something that can be shared with anyone in the neighborhood? There's some way they can get that copy of that document you were talking about?
Well, what it is, it's your president of your community. Your community is only as good as your president. If your president of your neighborhood association is no good, so won't be your community. Don't get mad at me. I'm sorry. If your president is no good and not doing anything, your neighborhood is going to be the same thing.
Right.
Yeah. You got to have a president that's really trying to do something. And then plus, Phoenix, they asked me to come to Phoenix and help them, to show them how I got involved in my community. Also, the main thing they wanted, how to improve relationship with the police department.
Yes, sir.
So I work with them also. Here's in different communities, the older people in the community might have had a bad relationship with the police department. Those words that happen to them, they're gonna pass it on to the young people.
Yes, sir.
The young people now thinking, I hate the police because you mess with my parents. Now you gonna mess with me too. And let me say this to you: the chief of police that we have right now, I'm glad you asked me. The chief of police, his name was Chad. He changed the whole thing. I had to sit down and had a meeting with him, and you can see now all the police department, all of them is coming to the community. It used to be they would not come to the community.
Yes, sir.
Every event that we have, you look and see a police officer, or you have to pay for them coming to our community, to our events. They come, they dance with the kids, they eat food, they sit down and talk with us, they mingle through the crowd. That's how you improve relationship with community and the police department, not standing over there with your arms folded, ready to arrest me.
Yeah.
I hear you saying you have to be intentional.
Yes.
And so you're intentionally building relationships.
Intentionally, yes.
And you're doing it from a standpoint of a very pure heart and pure motives. And really the end goal is to improve the lives, especially for the people who can't do that for themselves.
Yes.
Yes,
I
I
like
love you.
that. I
Mr. Willie
like
Blake
that.
is on the air. I
Yes.
absolutely adore this man.
When we sit there and we talk about the communities, so what you're telling people is that is it okay if the people try to get a hold of you to talk about your community and how you get started? Because what I'd like to hear is maybe other people who are listening, other HOAs, they'll call their president and say, hey, can you call Mr. Willie Blake and ask him about what he did for that community and how he did that, and how do we do the same thing to bring camaraderie and community love in the one little spot? So it's okay to give your phone number out or your email address out?
No, you can get my phone number, 520-971-6735.
Say that again, Mr.
I'm going to lay it on you again.
There you go.
520-971-6735.
And do you do a lot of speaking engagements for communities and stuff like that?
Yes, I done a lot speaking at the police department in different areas, down in Thatcher, Arizona, to the college down there.
Yeah.
And I speak to all the young people. And the reason why I do it, you have to think when you're young, your mind is fast. You're in the fast lane. And you got to think they're away from home. The young people say, I'm not at home no more. I don't have to do what mom and dad say.
Yes, sir.
I've always thought when you get away from God's teaching and your mom and dad word, and you figure you can do what you want to do, now comes trouble.
Yes, sir.
Now you got to turn around at those people who you didn't want to be involved with, like your mom and daddy. Mom and daddy got to come and get you out of trouble.
Yes, sir.
Can we all just get along?
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. I have, if this may be my last question, it depends on how long it takes to answer it, and I'm sorry for not preparing you for this, but what advice would you give to Willie Blake at 20 years old, if you were able to go back and give yourself some advice?
Well, what helped me was I went through a lot because I was the oldest son who could work. I had another brother, but he was blind and couldn't see. So they all looked at me as me being that leader. When I left home and got away from mom and dad, as I look back now, I didn't get away from God's teaching. I didn't get away from what my mom and dad taught me, and I kept my mind on the way Martin Luther King taught us to live. So that's how I got in, how I am right now, and I'm glad. I'm glad.
We're so happy to have Mr. Willie Blake here. As you noticed, that I'm only saying Mr. Willie Blake. I don't know any other way to talk to him or to give him any other name. Remember, he was the commissioner of the city of Tucson. He also was a retired union business rep for Local 104, and he has his own park, Willie Blake Community Park in Western Hills. We're going to say some things, and Sandra's going to close out.
We thank you for being here today. We'd also like to spank. I can't believe I did that. I did that. We want to thank our sponsors, Horizon Home Inspection, Indy Realty, Inspired Life Mortgage, the Arizona Sands Club, Rego Pest Prevention, Atomic Nutrition, and Sweet Little Shops. Thanks for spending your afternoon with us today.
Yeah, I guess I'm next to say it, huh?